Thank you very much. I had the privilege of meeting several interesting and stimulating people, and as some time happens, with a glass of wine, then we will discuss whether it would be better a French or Italian wine, but anyway, with Alain, of course. But we had this idea of developing some further research in law and economics, and we had the privilege of both knowing Guido Calabresi and knowing Joseph Scima, and putting the pieces together so that we could have this event and follow-up research. Now, I wrote here all the names of the people I have to thank. I hope to not forget anyone. The list is not about the value of people, but in some way I have to provide a list. So I have to thank, first of all, Guido for endorsing the project, because without this endorsement, the project could not go on, of course. All the speakers for accepting to participate to the symposium that will be published by Law and Contemporary Problems, and for coming to Prague. I do understand that coming from Prague is not a difficult task. This is a very attractive town, but nonetheless, it took several hours of flight. Then, of course, the director of CEVRO Institut, Joseph Scima, because when I came out with this crazy idea, he said, "Oh, great idea," which, raised my self-esteem, but also was an opportunity for having this workshop here. Also, the Law and Contemporary Problems Journal, no one of them, I guess, is here, but they also enthusiastically endorse the project. So the idea is not just to present some new idea here and to discuss the ideas, but then having a follow-up circulation, because we are pretty much convinced that knowledge diffusion is part of our task as researchers. And of course, I also have to ask every one of you for attending this conference, for providing what is very important in this invisible college, characterizing academic activity, cross-fertilization, discussion, development of idea. The title is about a celebration. We are celebrating here the anniversary of Guido Calabresi, but also the anniversary of an idea born several decades ago and carefully raised up until becoming a robust discipline. Last, we possibly celebrate also a wedding. Let me further qualify the assertion. One could ask whether there is an Italian connection, as the Alain's and Guido's last name, beside my own one, is reminding back to Italy in some way. I want to reassure you about that. Nothing wrong is taking place here. Although, I like to think that we are discussing today something that's possibly spread it up from our culture and possibly the Roman law, and then it's been raised in all Europe and also in the US. Guido has been the one celebrating this wedding as a pivotal scholar able to join the traditional perspective of law with the need for finding a matrix through which measuring and guiding both legal activity and lawmaking. Among the many merits of Guido Calabresi, there is not only the authorship of seminal contribution, and I'm not listing them now, we all know it, in that discipline that now we are able to call law and economics or economic analysis of law according to the different perspectives. I'm not entering this debate. He also enlightened the willingness to make this approach a practical tool for those involved in public decision. And I think this is very important. And luckily, economists, including Alain and myself, are part of this game today. In some thought of risk distribution and the law of tort, he provided his agenda for making law and economics a robust and practical methodology for confronting real problems. And I'm using now the words of Guido, in terms of, which are intelligible to law teachers, if not to lawyers, and without that suicidal desire of the economist to make his theory so pervasive and detailed that is rendered utterly useless to the lawyer who lives in the real world of man, and even to the law teacher wherever he lives. Since then, he spent his career in advancing our knowledge and equally as a justice in showing how to apply to real cases. While, of course, the efficiency is a main reference of the methodology, however, economic reasoning and economic modeling has always been used by him in a wise way, ancillary to the public interest rather than to abstract concepts. Too many times in several disciplines, the technicalities are taking over the target itself, thus neglecting the original objective. By contrast, the efficiency paradigm can serve as a powerful tool for guiding the legal decision, making clear the goal and looking for the optimal way for reaching it. Whatever, of course, the system of value endorsed will be. However, I think the burden for Guido are not ended here. We need him again. The sensitivity making law a machinery serving in proper way public interest is increasingly becoming lost in many European countries. We have some recent example from the last trial about scientists in Italy, by the way. So hence, we hopefully must rely once more upon his juvenile fervor, despite the decades, for asking a return travel to Europe and bringing us back the new sensitivity existing within the legal culture. I'm not stealing any longer any time. Thank you very much to everyone.
I would just like to ask a few words, just like Giovanni said. You're not here to listen to me or to listen to Giovanni, sorry, but you're here for a special event, and I would like to give the floor to Guido. So I just wanted to say a few words of thank you. Thanks to Guido, thanks to Joseph for having made this conference possible. And thanks to the participants who have accepted to cross the ocean, most of you, to participate and to present the paper. It's a very special event because law and economics, I guess, is still developing, well, especially in France, I mean. Also, I think that the work of Guido Calabresi deserves more consideration even among economists, or maybe especially among economists. So I think and I hope that this conference will help to shed new light and more light on the work of Guido Calabresi. So I will stop here, give the floor back to Giovanni because he's sharing this session, and then to Guido for his presentation. And thank you all for coming here today and tomorrow. Thank you.